What do you make of the narrative that we have in the National Football League media that you and you alone have the secret sauce for Carson Wentz? Let me just jump right in head first on that subject with you. What do you?
I appreciate you. I appreciate you jumping in on that. No, it's always anybody who I've ever worked with or the staffs I've ever worked on. No, it's always a collaborative approach. I never feel like, hey, I want to do my part, but it's a collaborative approach with the player, the coaches together, the team. That's what it's the whole process, and it's the whole group. So that's the way we'll approach it here.
So how are you approaching it with Carson Wentz? What was your first conversation with him like when you were allowed to, when this became official and you were allowed to connect and things of that nature?
Yeah, no doubt. And it's exactly what you would think and want it to be, Rich, or what anybody would want it to be, what Carson would want it to be. You move teams, you go through what Carson has gone through, and an opportunity like this presents itself. You use it for what it is. It's time to hit the reset button, go back to the basics, the fundamentals, starting at the very beginning. And, you try to discipline yourself to do that as a player every year, no matter what. But it's hard to do once you get things going. But you go through something like this, hey, new team, new beginning. Let's use this to our advantage, Carson. And if you know Carson the way I know him, he's embracing that. He wants that, and he's working real hard and looking forward to it and off to a good start. So,
yeah, I mean, obviously you have the ability to hit the reset button, but based on your knowledge of him and when he's at his best, I mean, when he dove for the end zone and had the mistake of diving for an end zone with Aaron Donald barreling in on him in the Los Angeles Coliseum a couple of years ago, that was the MVP of the season. I mean, he was the MVP up until that very moment when his knee was blown out, and we all know what happened with Nick Foles after that. But
yeah, and you're right, and he was at that point. I think everyone pretty much agrees. Maybe it could be argued, but he's probably that day. If the voting's that day, he's the MVP. But so I believe he's fully capable of that. But we here, like most teams, we want players who can produce at that level. But, we want to do the ordinary things in an extraordinary way and just do your job at the position that you play, be the quarterback of this team. A lot of that MVP season was due to the fact that he had a great offensive line in front of him in 2017 that was playing at a very high level. There was a good running game. There was a good defense. There was good special teams. There was good coaching. There was really good play calling by Doug Peterson. It was, and that all contributed to that. So that's the approach here. I do believe that Carson has what it takes to have an MVP type season, but I also believe that at this position, it starts up front with this team. Chris Ballard and I, when we talk about it, we talk about building this team from the inside out, from the front, O-line, D-line, quarterback. So, and then Darius Leonard, he's kind of the quarterback of the defense. So that's kind of how we're going to roll.
Well, and in just a few more on this subject matter, Frank Reich of the Colts here on the Rich Eisen Show. How much, though, obviously it is collaborative, and I know your owner is somebody who delegates and then lets those people do their jobs. And but how much were you in this conversation with Chris Ballard and everyone else saying, I got this, when it came a call from Philadelphia or maybe vice versa to check on things, that it's possible to get Carson Wentz here?
Well, no, it was what you just said, Rich. It was, Mr. Irsay, it was Chris Ballard and myself. And so, naturally at this position with my history, they were gracious enough to, listen and lean on my knowledge and experience with Carson. But it was collaborative in his decision between the three of us. Obviously Mr. Irsay has to write the checks. So, and Chris has to, coordinate the trade and figure out how that's going to affect the dynamics of our whole team. So I played my part to give my evaluation of who Carson is. Obviously, Mr. Irsay, as you know, being around this, he's got a pretty astute opinion on matters as well, and his perspective. And obviously, Chris is one of the top evaluators in this league. So it was a really dynamic, collaborative effort, and thankfully we were able to get done, work it out with Philly, where it was a long, arduous process. Nobody wanted to give, and it eventually, I think, fell to where what it was supposed to fall to, which was, I think, a fair deal for both sides.
And then the last one on this subject matter, again, because you know Carson Wentz well and you know Philadelphia well, and I know that you're hitting the reset button, but I'm going to ask a question that I'd love to give you the floor on, is the sense that the drafting of Jalen Hurts absolutely sent Carson Wentz into a bit of a tailspin. That, you know, obviously the offensive line and other things were not working on his behalf, but he allowed things that he can't control to control him. I'm wondering what you say about that now that he is your quarterback in Indianapolis.
Yeah, well, first of all, I really don't I don't think that's the case. I mean, that's how I feel about it. That's my opinion. That I don't think the drafting of another player sent Carson, in a tailspin. I think there was. I think it's complicated. I think there was a lot of different dynamics. You know, everybody, when you win or lose in this league, everybody should share in the success, and everybody should share in the blame. It usually doesn't work that way. You know, the quarterback, head coach, whoever, GMs, tend to be the focal point. So, Carson took his share of being the focal point of the blame, and that's part of the process of being a quarterback in this league, and you got to be a big boy and be able to take it. But, now's an opportunity to hit the reset button. It's an opportunity for the Eagles to set the reset button. And obviously, Rich, just because from our past, nothing that I want more than to see the Eagles succeed and this be a win-win for both teams. And the Jalen Hurts is successful. It's all good. I love great quarterback play, but I'm glad we got our guy.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.